Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
I am Deb Creer. I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And oh my gosh, today we're going to have so much fun talking about how to scale your business up and then how to potentially sell it. It's not a lot of businesses can do that, but for those who want to do that, they really need to be very strategic about it. So please join me in welcoming Alexis Sikorsky to our program today. Welcome, Alexis. How are you?
Well, thank you, Deb. I'm very well. How are you?
Well, we're actually doing this now for the second time. I don't know what the heck is going on with all of my recording, but, it says it's recording, so we're going to keep our fingers, toes, and eyes crossed. Well, let me tell people just a little bit about you, and then we will jump into this. So Alexis Sikorsky is a strategic advisor to founders who are serious about scaling fast and exiting strong. With a 9-figure private equity exit under his belt, and do the numbers, folks, 9 figures, Alexis isn't speaking from theory. He's lived the entrepreneurial highs and lows across decades of company building, boardroom negotiation, and international leadership. His flagship book, Cashing Out, lays out the APEX methodology, which is a 4-part framework: assess, plan, execute, and exit, that demystifies the journey to private equity for founders feeling stuck or overwhelmed by growth and decision fatigue. So again, Alexis, welcome for the second time to the program.
Thank you, Deb. Thanks for having me.
Well, I always like to know how it is that my guests got to where they are today. And you've told me your story. I loved it. Tell it again.
Okay, I'll try to do it again. I'll try to go for a little bit of a shorter version this time.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Basically, it started in 2000 when I started internet bespoke development company.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So started that with a very close friend of mine. I had a day job. I had another company actually at the time, and he was finishing his PhD in theoretical physics. So basically, I was the comic relief, and he was the one with the brain.
He was the brains.
Yeah, he was 100% the brain. He still is. He's still working in the company. And we started that, grew it from 2000 to 2003 to a 10 people company, few million revenue, doing okay. And in 2003, we acquired a bankrupt software company that did document management software for private banks. Mm-hmm. So we basically got the source code, and the way we convinced the Swiss government to let us acquire this company is by promising to hire all the employees, because obviously they have a mission.
Right.
Now
But Swiss banking is a totally different animal.
Swiss banking is it's the Rolls Royce of banking, basically. When you do Swiss banking, every time I step foot in a bank anywhere in the world, I say, God, these guys are so incompetent. and especially now I live in the UK, so it's laughable.
Don't come over here. Yeah.
No, you are worse. I used to own a house in Florida, and I had a bank account with Bank of America, and sometimes I thought it was a joke how bad they were. But anyway, so we grew this company from 2003 to 2008. We dropped the bespoke development part, focusing on software, building new compliance and know your customers part of the software. So that brings us to 2007, and I'm the king of the world. Literally in 2007, the company is doing like 10, 11 million revenue, super profitable, spend every penny of it. I like convinced I'm an absolute genius. I'm a fantastic entrepreneur. Could not imagine anything could go wrong, especially when you're in banking software. Like what can go wrong in the banking market in 2007 and 2008, right? Like there's no reason something could go wrong. And then obviously 2008, the global financial crisis hit, the subprime crisis hit. And basically in one given Thursday, I lost 75% of my revenue. One day. Yeah, that hurts. And like get phone calls from all my clients. They all called and said, by the way, we're not buying anything from you.
Right. We're in trouble too.
Yeah, we are in lots of trouble. So we go into the 4 or 5 years that I call the grind, which is basically where all the fun stops. Like now I have to fire people who are actually, that's something like you never completely get over that when you have to fire like 20 people on the same day who are all your friends, right? Like,
right. And good people. They didn't deserve to be fired.
Good people don't deserve to be fired. You fire them at a point where pretty much all software companies are firing for the same reason. And these people, like, like entrepreneurs know that at the beginning, it's a family, right? You like once a year, they'll come, I'll barbecue for them and their kids. I know them all. I know their wives, their husband, their kids. It was really, really rough. So that brings us to 2014, 15, where we're back to, we could say break even. That would be a little bit optimistic, but roughly break even around 10 million revenue. And let's say back on track. So what's happened now is I've been in there for 14 years. Out of them, like 6 were really not fun. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted, starting to make bad decisions, and luck strike, and I get the phone call from private equity. Like your listeners will know that if they're entrepreneur, private equity call all the time.
Right. Right. If you have a good business, you start getting those calls.
Yeah, even if you have a bad business, to be honest, any kind of business you have, they're so desperate to buy, they call you anyway. And lots of them is like it's never going to lead to anything. Yeah, like, so you stop answering after a while. But these guys were French. So they're culturally close. They came from software. They came from fintech. So they knew what we were doing. They understood, okay, let's take the call. So they call me, and next week they come visit me in Geneva, spend a whole day. And I've been super honest and transparent with them. Like from day one, I say, guys, I'm exhausted. I'm super ready to sell. But I cannot sell now because right now the company is not making any money. So I'm not ready to let it go for free. But I'll make you a deal because you make the effort to come and visit me, because you show interest. I'm going to still grow this company for 2 years. In 2 years, I'm going to call you. The company is going to be profitable. And I'm not going to go through a whole auction process. You make me a half-decent offer and I sell to you. And they say, yeah, thank you, very interesting, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do something a little bit different. Said, okay. Said, you're going to go home. You're going to do a business plan and you're going to tell us where you will be in 2 years. Take your time. We're coming back next week. Okay. So grab my brother, who's way smarter than I am. And we do this business plan, and let's call it optimistic. Honestly, it was a little bit of la la land business plan.
Right. A lot of wishful thinking in there.
Yeah, but you're allowed. So that's something I tell my clients all the time. When you talk about the past, you cannot lie even $1, because first of all, it's wrong. And second of all, they'll find it. Believe me, they'll find it.
Yes.
So you're always strictly honest about the past, but when somebody asks you about your future, you're allowed to dream. Actually, that's what we are, right? Entrepreneurs are dreamers, so you're allowed to dream. So I came with this business plan, and I don't remember, it was like 2.5 million or 3 million EBITDA anticipated in 2 years, and say, okay, so this is our offer. We're going to pay 11 times your EBITDA in 2 years, and we're going to give you 85% cash and 15% earnout. And honestly, I thought they were joking, or it was like basically like, are these guys stupid? Like how do they actually believe my business plan? And so we made the deal. And they bought 77% of the company, kept 23. And long story short, 2 years later, I made more money with the earnouts that I made with the 85% cash. So that's how successful we've been. Then that was 2015, 2017, I think, or 18. We acquire a company that 3 times as big as we are. So bring the company from 15 million to 50 million, give or take. And in that deal, there was the CEO of this company that at that point I put as head of sales. And talking to the guy was like, come on, that's ridiculous. The guy is 10 years older. He's way more experienced. He's much better than I am.
He should be in charge.
He should be in charge. So I went to see the private equity and said, guys, like this guy should be in charge. And so they chairman me. By the way, if this job is offered to you, best job
Be
to
the
work
chairman.
with.
Yep.
Be the chairman. Exact same salary, same bonus. But instead of working 16 hours per day, you work half a day per month. Much, much, much better. And 2019, 2020, I had a big midlife crisis. New wife, new country, new kids. I went to see the private equity. I said, guys, like, if you want to buy me out, they made me a super, super nice offer. To be honest, they made me a super nice offer. I sold to them the remaining of my shares, and then they sold the company 60% more than what they offered me 2 years later. So everybody's happy. Everybody, like, really, it was a good deal. I think they made 15x in their investment. I made tons of money. Every single one of my guys got paid, like minority shareholders, key player. That was the biggest, like the hardest negotiation was to have my guys getting paid. They said, like, we never seen that. You're such a pain in the neck. Like, I never saw that. Like, why do you care? I said, yeah, because these people trusted me when there was nothing to trust. Like, they invested $10,000 in my company where there was no company, and now they're making 2 million, and I want them to have these 2 million. I think it's, and so, yeah, everybody made good money. I retired. I started to get bored in 2021. Started to do an executive MBA in Oxford University, and then I thought, yeah, fancy, right? And I'm that. Like I could do a whole podcast on my experience in there with the proper people, PC, work, and me being 50.
I have an executive MBA from the University of Colorado. Now that's good, but Oxford? Yeah, Oxford, oi.
It's all about inclusion and diversity. And I feel like I spent pretty much 2 years apologizing. Like, listen, I'm French. I'm 50-something white male. Please forgive me. Not like, am I going to offend you? I know I'm going to offend you at some point.
I'll just apologize now.
Just apologize in advance. Anyway, during this MBA, I met lots of entrepreneurs. And I was like, crap, they're doing the same mistake I made. Like, and then I did a little mental exercise because it's fun. I said, okay, let's imagine I started New Access, not when I was 30, but now, knowing what I know. How much faster would have I sold it, and for what amount? It's basically I would have sold it 5 years earlier and 50 million more. So that's the total cost of my mistakes, 5 years and 50 million. I say, okay, maybe there's a way I can save this money and this time to these people. So I started advising a few of these entrepreneurs. Then I was like, okay, so if I advise 10 of them, it's still not a lot. So I wrote the book saying, okay, like, at least I can help a few people. And yeah, that's where we are now.
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the questions that I had was, you mentioned the 4-ish years that were just the grind. Why did you stick with it? Why didn't you just say enough? So why did you decide you were going to stick with it?
A mix of two things. Well, three things. One is there is literally nothing else I can do.
Okay.
I'm totally unemployable. Seriously, like I I would suck in a McDonald's. Like I would burn the burgers. I have zero hand coordination. I'm not technical enough to be a good CTO. Actually, I have an anecdote on that. After the company reached like 5 people, I was still writing a little bit of code, but I suck at it. Always did. So the all the engineers, well, all of them, the 4 of them came to my office and said, "Listen, we love that you're still coding, but we think we should not do that anymore because it costs us more time to correct your bugs. So you go sell and we go." So could not be a CTO. I absolutely inept at anything operational or organizational. So literally there's not a job for me in any company. So I had no other choice. Second reason is basically I had my house mortgage and everything I own in this company. So it's like letting go would be like probably meaning living in the streets. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but I'm like tend to exaggerate a little bit. But it was like not a good situation. And also you have to feel a little bit about the people who followed you in this
Right.
adventure.
Yes.
Like it's your fault. It's not their fault. These guys are working hard. They made all the right decision. I'm the one who fucked it up, so I'm the one who need to fix it for them. So yeah, that's a mix of these 3 things. That's it.
Right. And
Also,
it is, I think so many people go, well, we can just quit, and they don't care. And that's what I like about you is you are always thinking about the other people, so the people who worked with you, the people who supported you, and now, of course, the people who you can support with your book. And that doesn't happen here in the States. You're kind of on your own in the States.
I actually, Deb, and I apologize for that, disagree with you a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, it's gonna sound like new age bullshit a little bit, and I apologize because it's not who I am, but the US has the biggest charity in the world. There will be no opera, there will be no museum, there would be no, like, people will literally die in the street if it wasn't for charity. So I think entrepreneurs, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are people who think about others. I love entrepreneurs,
Right.
and like it's easy to spit on Elon Musk or on these guys, but these guys literally give billions to charity.
Right. And they don't make it public. I mean, that's the thing is because, and that's, do I get annoyed at how much money they make? Well, yeah, but they don't go around saying, we gave X, we gave this, we did that, because they know that it would get twisted against them.
Yeah.
And so they just quietly do. And I mean, we certainly have people like Bill Gates who started the Gates Foundation and things like that. But even at that, that he is giving far more than what and all the way down to, little one-person entrepreneurs like me, we do give back. How can we give back? What are we going to do? And so I think it's kind of one of those where we do what we can. If I could give $1 million, I'd give $1 million. I can't give $1 million. But yeah, can I do $20?
Yeah, my experience is middle management people have a tendency to be assholes. But like, if you have been successful, or if you are successful, and if you don't give back, doesn't have to be money. It can be mentoring. It can be time. It can be like all these athletes, these people. Like I'm super friend with famous golfer in the US with John Daly. I mean, I saw what this guy is like. He's not very rich anymore. He's not, but he gives so much time to make a wish to him. Like, that's important as well. It's not only money. So I don't think you're on your own. I think giving back is the most important thing.
Right.
Also, it gives so much joy. Like, honestly, who are you if you're not happy to help a young entrepreneur? And
I know.
like I did my partner in my new business is in Tampa in Florida. So I did a tour talking to students because in the US you're way smarter than we are in Europe. You have actually entrepreneur programs in university. So they like to have me talk to these kids. And like I spend hours and it's exhausting, but still I have kids who call me and ask for advice. And of course, you're never going to say no to that.
Right.
You can.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I'm mentoring a young woman right now at the University of Colorado, and for what she's smart. She is way smart. And it's so much fun, right? And it really is just kind of one of the, and it takes me a minuscule amount of time, but can I help her? Sure. And like you said, maybe people can't give money, but they can give time. They can give their knowledge. And I think that is something that, especially entrepreneurs, we're in that grind of, doing the work. And we don't stop to think what the knowledge is that comes with that. Like you said, when you were looking back and you were thinking, well, gee, I can only, work with maybe 10 a year. How can I help more? And that is the important thing, is how can we help more?
Yeah.
So, you've got this great business, and, I was looking at your information, and so many times we've got businesses anywhere around the world where we don't stop to think, what are we doing next? Right? And for some like me, when I stop, my business stops. That's just the way it's going to be. But for many people, they want to have it continue on, whether it's a legacy, whether they sell it, whatever it is. So why is it important to always be planning for that exit?
Well, many reasons. First of all, you need to know who you are. And most of entrepreneurs don't have 5 minutes to think who they are. And
they're busy.
They're busy and they do something that I call confusing what's urgent with what's important, which are very common human things. Like your house
what fire needs put out now.
Yes, your house is on fire, you extinguish the fire. But when that's all you do, you don't have time to think. So the first thing, I always have the same conversation at the beginning. I onboard a very small number of clients, because like less than 5%, because I only take on people that I feel I can really help.
Right.
The first question I always ask is, what is your business? Is it a lifestyle business or is it a growth business? And what do you want it to be? A lot of lifestyle business, and I love lifestyle business. I think they're fantastic people. All they want is get $1 million per year out of their company, in dividends and in salary, and the company grows a little bit. They get $1 million per year. They're super happy
as can be.
I love it. It's just I'm not good at helping them, because these people need two things. They need super good operational efficiency, which I suck at, and they need very good tax optimization system, which I'm even worse at. So I really have nothing to help these people. So I only work with growth business. And then the next question is, okay, so you want to grow your business and you want to exit your business, because that's the point of growing your business. So the next question is, what's your number? How much do you want to sell your company for?
Okay.
That's a super important question. And everybody thinks there are very, very different answers to that question, where there is only one number. And people don't know it, but there is only one number, and this number is 40 million.
Okay.
And it's very simple why it's for at least 40 million. Can be more. My MO is reaching 100 million, obviously, because that's kind of my brand, right? But the minimum is 40 million. That means 40 million for the founder. So depending on the cap table, you might be at 100 million already. And why is that number important? Because people who have been grinding don't realize, first of all, how much it costs to not work, to not have your salary anymore. And also they have kids. So what I want them is to leave the capital to their kids. So what they get from the sale has to be what goes to their kids. So that's when they have to live from the revenue of their assets, right? And basically, I count 5%, which is like pretty conservative, not crazy. So basically 40 million, 5%, it's 2 million. The tax man is going to take half of that. It's $1 million per year, which is a pretty decent lifestyle after you grind for decades to sell your company.
Right.
So that's the second question, right? What's your number? And then the next question is, how long will it take? And if the answer is anything more than 4 or 5 years, I'm out.
Right.
I don't do 10-year plans. I don't believe in 10-year plans. I believe in like man-made plans and God laughs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. So like, and I tell them, shit's gonna happen. The question is not if shit's gonna happen, it's
Right.
when.
When?
How bad it's gonna be. But
Just
like,
ask everybody who didn't think COVID was going to be bad, right?
or in my case, the global financial crisis,
Financial crisis, yeah.
or the war in Ukraine, or like stuff happens.
Things happen.
Things happen, and so yeah, so that's when I'm efficient, when there is a way to reach this number within 4 years, pretty much.
Right. So one of the things when I've talked with folks about this before, they say, there's multiple reasons why there are issues, not the least of which is what the actual value is, right? Because they think, well, I worked for 40 years on this business, blood, sweat, tears, all this stuff, and they think it's valued at 40 million. And somebody comes in and says 4. And so how do you work with people to actually be realistic about what the heck the value of their business is?
Super easy. It's an art. It's not a science. And what you're describing is actually the minority.
Okay.
The majority is the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
They think the business is worth 10, where it's actually worth 15.
Okay.
And because it's hard to say I'm an expert, but I consider myself pretty good at valuing companies, and I know all that gets into there, and I also know how to make a company look good. I call this phase dressing the bride. I got in trouble with my British editor on my book. He said, you cannot say that. It's super. You have to say dressing the window. I said, come on, like it doesn't mean the same thing at all.
There you go with being PC.
Yes. I compromise by saying dressing the bride or the groom.
There you go. Yeah, you got both.
But that's super important. Like, how do you make? There's tons of examples, but one is very simple to understand that nobody knows about in the founders. You think basically what you use to calculate the valuation of your company is a multiple of EBITDA, right? So basically, if you want to know really like back of the cocktail napkin valuation of your company, you take your EBITDA, you multiply it by 10, gives you a rough idea of your valuation of your company. But then when you're doing that, you're missing on a very important concept, is they're actually not valuing your EBITDA, they're valuing something they call the nominal EBITDA, which is the EBITDA they could achieve after you leave. So ton of things go in there. For example, you fire somebody in November, there is 10 months of the salary in your costs, right? But in the nominal EBITDA, you take that out because he's not going to be there next year. So it's not going to be in your EBITDA next year. There's tons of little like tactics like that. So yes, valuing your company is very, very important. But more important than that is how do you get it to that 40 million number, right, or that 100 million number? Because like if you're people who are already at 100 million valuation, if they use me, it's for one thing. It's just for finding and negotiating with private equity.
Right. They've done everything they need to up to that.
Yes, and basically in that particular case, I act as an investment bank pretty much.
Right.
Except I actually work for them and not for the private equity.
Right. Yeah, and of course, there's so many other things that go into this. I've got your website open here. One of the biggest is, obviously lack of money. And so they're not investing to make it grow. And because they have lack of money, then they don't have the right employees, they don't have the right equipment, all of those things. And so, how do you get somebody to realize either A, they don't have enough money, or B, hey, you do?
Okay. So can I take a step back?
Yes.
Because there is a particular moment of the company where I think I bring the most value.
Okay.
And lack of money is not the main issue.
Because they're past that problem.
Issue. they're past that, or they're not there yet, or money is not the problem very often. Because any half-decent CFO will find in any company trapped value that they can get money. Like when I start a company, the first month I find savings and and so that's not the issue. Put yourself in the shoes of an entrepreneur who's the perfect target for me that I can really help. It's a company that's been started by a founder, bootstrapped, that's been like, they put their own money, they put their own sweat and blood in the company, and they reach a point where they are between 5 and 15 million revenue. And I call it the 10 million plateau. And they plateau, they stop growing, or they grow very slowly at that point for many different reasons, but 3 are very common and easily identifiable and pretty easy to fix. First one is exhaustion.
Right. Because they've been working 16, 20-hour days.
Hours. And as I said earlier, they're confusing what's urgent with what's important, or how my business partner put it, it's actually even better. They said they spend too much time in the company and not enough time on the company.
Right.
So they actually work for the company, and that's a super easy fix. Actually, that's the easiest of fixes. We have a methodology for that. We list all the tasks they do, and we identify the one they're uniquely qualified to do.
Right.
And it's
push off.
and then you farm out all the rest.
Right.
Very easy. It's just making this exercise. Okay, so yes, it's super important that I talk to my top 5 clients once a month. You're uniquely qualified to do that at the moment. It won't be true in 2 years, but at that moment, you're uniquely qualified to do that. Do you do like the operation meeting? You bring no value to that meeting.
Yeah, if anything, you bring it worse.
Exactly, etc., etc., etc. So that that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, and that's experience. They don't have proper numbers. And do you remember, like you have your company, so you know how companies start. Finance is never a priority.
Right.
You have your cousin who's fantastic accountant, but he's not a CFO.
Right.
You reach 5-10 million, you need a proper CFO. You need somebody who can give you meaningful monthly numbers. And that's like something I put in their brain. I want meaningful monthly numbers. Doesn't have to be 16 Excel spreadsheet. Has to be 10 numbers, but that are meaningful and that are monthly. You'll be surprised like how many founders run their company on quarterly or even yearly number. It's like flying an airplane and looking at Juliet.
Gas? Do you not have gas?
So you overshot your airport by 500 miles. Too late. Not much I can do about that now. So like getting them to have meaningful numbers, that's super easy. It's just like sending a decent fractional CFO. And the third one, and this one that's actually how I based my new company, is you reach to the point when you need C-level people. Like your best friend who's your CTO because he was the one who knew tech at the beginning. It's not necessarily the CTO you need now.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to fire him.
Right.
Doesn't mean like...
Maybe he's good at something else.
Or maybe he's even very good at running your tech. Doesn't mean he's the CTO. He's not going to be the one who knows what tech you need to multiply your company by 4. That's not his job. And that's true for pretty much every C-level. You don't have a proper chief of operation. You have a like bona fide PA who does the operations for you. You probably suck at HR. Like you have no idea how people suck at HR, etc., etc. So basically I say, how do I fix that? That's a little more tricky. So I basically picked up my phone and called all my friends and say, hey guys, like they all either retired or they hate their jobs or like, and I say, hey, do you want to help your smaller company to get that? Say, oh, cool.
To get to that next level.
Yeah. So what we do when we enter a new company, we identify the gaps and say, okay, you need a CFO for 3 days. You need a CTO for 4 days, etc. And we build a team. We send the team in the company, quick in and out. We put the procedure in place. We grow their people, and that's what we do.
Right. And of course, so many times, and this is before that stage, you've got the owner, the founder, the whoever, who it's my company. I have to do everything. And the thought of delegating just drives them nuts, right? Because one of the things is, well, but nobody's going to do it as good as I can do it. And I fall under that with my little enterprise. And of course, I finally realized not only could somebody else do it, they could probably do it better. And free me up to do whatever. But getting that thought process is very very hard, because it's my baby, it's my company, all of those things. And so convincing them, hey, it's okay to let go of that, is hard.
Not only it's okay, but it's necessary. Not only they could do it better, but they have to do it better, because you're the general of the company. You're the admiral, right? You don't know how to fire a rocket. That's not your job. You tell people to fire rockets. You don't know that. And
no, I'm just happy when they go, right?
Yeah, exactly. But my job is tell them when they need to go. How they go, not my problem.
Right.
They go. And the problem is, like, founders are very particular state of mind people. So
It must be done this way.
yes, they are charismatic. They attract people. They are leaders, right? And leaders have followers. And I think it's Churchill who said, "A follower with nobody following is just a guy having a walk." So
That's Churchill.
Yeah, it sounds like Churchill. I'm not sure. You'll fact check that for me. So the people who tend to work in the company are people who are like followers. But that's not what you want. That's not what you need. You need people who are smarter than you. And that's probably the only skill I have. But I have this skill. I always surround myself with people that are way smarter than I am and that are way better at their job.
Well, and we talk about that a lot, and you read lots of books about that. Never be the smartest person in the room, right? And that's the thing is, we're going to learn from them. And now it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. I'm just going to, they're going to rise it up. And I think that is the hard thing. I've mentioned this several times on the program. I had a guest one time who owned a company, and he had several thousand employees. I mean, this is a big company. And he told me the day he was most proud of his company was when he went on a 2-week vacation and absolutely nobody called him or emailed him. He had the right people working for him. And of course, so many people would think, well, they don't need me. No, they still need them, but he's got the right people. And, I think so many people will just hire the cousin, the nephew, the friend, the whoever, and it fills the need for a while, but they're not the right people.
As they should at the beginning. I'm not saying it's a wrong strategy, but at some point your strategy. It's funny you mentioned a 2-week vacation, because it's one of the tests I made with all my clients. So now you're going to go to a deserted island. I do it as a mental exercise at the beginning, and then I do it for real. You're going to go in an island where there is no cell phone reception and no internet. What happens to your company? And we have to get to the point where nothing happens to my company.
Right. Or
Because
it
that's
can
not
be
my job.
fixed. That's the thing. Something
It
screws up,
doesn't-
you fix it.
Your job as a CEO and as a founder is not an operational job.
Right.
It's not managing, it's leading. And that's one of the biggest confusion. You have 2 types of CEOs. You have managers and you have leaders, and yet to meet somebody who's both.
Right.
So basically,
Because
the
they're
manager,
very different skill sets.
very different. A manager is somebody who can devise and execute a 3-year plan. That's fantastic, but that's not a founder. That's a COO. That's a head of operation. That's a head of tech. Your job is not that. Your job is to give the vision. Your job as a founder is the guy who run with a white plummet in the battlefield and everybody's following you. That's your job. So if your job implies day-to-day operation, you're doing your job wrong. With exception, with exceptions, like talking to clients, it's always going to be part of your job because clients want to talk to the founder.
You're still the chief salesperson.
You
Kind of.
So if you're good, you're not going to be the chief salesperson. You're going to be the chief closing person.
That's it. Yeah.
Your job is not going to do the sale process. Your job is going to be in front of the camera, do the signing with 13 different hands, and giving the hands, shaking the hands, and then you go with them for a round of golf or a breakfast twice a year. That's going to be always part of your job. And even like Elon Musk does it.
Right.
When you reach to a point your company is bigger, your main job is going to be investor relationship. But before you get to the point, it's going to be mainly sales. And if you still are active in the operation, then we need to change that pretty soon.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's about, again, having the best people doing the best job. And that's not, and if that's what you want to do, then you need to do it somewhere else, is maybe the way to think about it.
If you're a specialist in anything, then you're not a generalist. And the CEO is a generalist. And that's what I said earlier. I suck at everything. I could not get a job to save my life.
But
because I'm not good enough.
Coordinate. You could do all of that.
Not even, because that's a management job. I could lead. I could tell. Like when I started Knightscale, I said, okay, so I want to help companies that does 5 to 15 million. This is what I think we need to do. Okay, so I need somebody who can do the top line for me. And that's Topher, my partner. He does the top line. Said, okay, I need somebody who can do all the operation for me. So I called Natalia, one of the girls from Oxford. Say, can you do the operation for me? That's it. I don't touch the operation. I do sales call. I do podcast because that's where my value is. But when I say, okay, so we need to sign a contract with this company, I call Natalia.
There with your fancy pen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what I do.
Well, and it comes down to trust, right? You have to trust that you have the right people and let them do what they're supposed to do. I still remember way back, when COVID first started and we shut down really hard here in the States for a while. And I was talking to somebody and he was a micromanager. And of course, it was driving him nuts that he couldn't reach out literally and touch his employees. And I said, okay, let's talk through this a little bit. What's going on? And he said, well, he didn't trust that they were getting the work done. And I said, well, are they? I mean, that kind of came down to it. But I said, did you trust them when you were in the office with them? I said, because if you trusted them when they were in the office, they're going to be fine out of the office. You had that trust. If you didn't trust them when you were there leaning over your shoulder or over their shoulder, that's a different problem. They should not have been there. But for so many people, that trust really was the hardest thing to do, whether it's COVID or not. I mean, it just, you either, you trust them or you don't. And I don't care if they're the people in the mailroom or the CTO. If you don't trust them, they shouldn't be there.
So that's why you have, and that's a word I don't use often because I hate it, but that's why you have processes, right?
Right.
Trust is not blind trust. Trust is putting together a list of deliverable and being sure they deliver. But again, not your job as a founder. That's the job of the head of operation. COO is the most important job for a company at that stage.
Right.
It's somebody who knows operation. That's not you. It cannot be you. It's a job where all you do is lists and checks and controls, and that's a waste of your time.
Right. And I love that you mentioned processes because nobody, they need that process. Now they might change it, they might revise it, all of those things. But, it was funny. I was talking with another guest and I said, how many times have we thought, we've hired this person who's so smart, we don't have to tell him what to do? No. No. We still need to say, we need you to do this with this widget, or we need you to do this to this. Now, they might find a different way to do it, and that's okay. But we can't just fling them out there and say, go do. Nobody's that good.
What you need to tell them is what you expect from them as a result of their work.
Right.
They can be smart enough to decide how they're going to do it at the beginning. Then when the company became bigger, you need stronger processes because the company is just bigger. So you have more people involved. But like it's okay to tell a sales guy, I want 5 new clients per month and you go work your magic. But if you just go tell him and say, go sell, how you measure
Right.
is
Yeah.
good or not.
Yeah. It's kind of, and I use this analogy a lot. You don't get into your car and tell your GPS, take me somewhere.
Yeah.
It's got to know where you want to go.
That's your job as a founder. And I'll go as far as say pretty much that's your only job. It's inputting the GPS coordinates, but that can be only you.
Right. And it is hard to let go of your baby. But if you want, you need to, again, keep those long-term goals. And I think maybe that's the other issue is they don't have a vision. They just keep grinding and they keep grinding and they don't think, hey, what are we going to become in the future? What are we going to be when this company grows up? And so, do you find and can you get them past that point, or are they just going to be stuck there forever?
Well, that's my main job, right? If I fail at that, it's not like they're not going to be really surprised where the company is going when it grows because it's not going to grow. It's that simple. You need a vision to grow the company. Like, okay, so now you want to quadruple your EBITDA because that's what gets you. Let's say you're at 2 million EBITDA, 2.5 million EBITDA, and you want to get to 10 million EBITDA so you can sell for 100 million. So you need to quadruple your EBITDA. How are you going to do that? That's your vision. Is it going to be organic growth? Is it going to be M&A? Is it going to be entering new geography? But if you do what you're doing so far, then you're going to have no growth. You're going to keep going at your very slow, steady growth. And then you're not going to be... It's like the US, right? It works well when it has 5% growth. When it has 2% growth, it doesn't work because shit happens. So you're in a company, your 5% growth is not going to be enough because shit will happen. You lose 2 clients or you'll have a crisis. So you need that vision to grow. And that's my job. That's my personal particular job is to help them finding that vision.
So how do you make sure that it's a realistic vision? Because I'll step back. So here we talk about BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals. And you want them to be big, right? You don't want to say, I just want to earn a little bit. It's, I want to earn X. I want a company to grow by X. But you can make them too big, hairy, and audacious.
So it's a mix of my experience and their experience.
Okay.
I am market agnostic. So one of the first things I'm going to tell, like, if you hire me, I'm not going to tell you if you need 10 podcasts or if you need 10 times more people in your podcast because I don't know.
Right.
I have 0 podcast experience. That's not my job to know. My job would be to tell you, okay, now you are having 10,000 people in your podcast. Your company is valued 1 million. You want your company to be valued 40 million, so you need to grow your company 40 times in 4 years. Deb, how do we do that? You know, you don't need me to tell you. You know, and I'm going to tell you what's realistic and what's not. But you're going to set your own goals. I'm starting to work with a company that does polymer for asphalt. Honestly, this company could be Chinese. I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, they know what. Yeah, that's.
I'm working for a company that develop specialized agent for AI. Don't understand what they're doing. But I said,
principles are the same.
Same. You have 3 business lines. Which one is profitable? Like very, very huge problem. Like I was talking to somebody who told me the story of a company that does salad. The number 1 salad supplier in UK.
Okay.
And they are like number 1 in watercress and number 5 in endives or asparagus. I don't remember which salad. And they do 80% of their revenue in watercress and 80% of their profit in asparagus. Because watercress, they are the number 1 in the UK, but they make no money out of it. Right. They didn't even know that. They didn't even know that. I say, okay, so...
Well, they didn't have the right numbers.
They didn't have the right number. They didn't even look for that. They are so proud to be number one in watercress and said, well, it seems pretty obvious that you have to grow your asparagus, right? So it's stuff like that. And I'm no expert in salad. Well, I'm the opposite of a salad expert.
I'm not a salad expert either.
As I've been told number time by my wives and doctors, I'm no expert in salads. So, it's common sense. Common sense and experience, and they have that. They know it. Just need somebody to help them getting out of them.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of times I'm guessing it's they need help getting out of their own way.
Yes. And just take a minute. Just take a minute and think. Just stop acting. Just think for a minute. And I give, they hate me. I give them homework.
Well, they homework.
I'm a fascist with homework. You don't do your homework, I quit. Because I cannot help you.
Right.
It's that simple.
If you're not willing to put in the work, then it's not going to work.
I'm uber expensive. Don't pay me if you. I'm not saying you have to do what I said. I always say that anytime you can go tell me to go fuck myself. I'm an advisor. You said I don't like your way. Find another way. It's fine. But if you just do nothing and not listen, I'm not here for the money. Thank God I don't need the money. I'm here to help. So yeah.
Right. Well, oh my gosh, Alexis, the second time around, we're almost done. I think this was actually better the second time around, but yeah, it really is just absolutely fascinating. And so for people who are thinking, okay, I'm ready to at least start exploring, and they want to talk to you, tell us a little bit more. First of all, tell us how they find you, and then what are the services that you provide?
Well, the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn, because I'm lucky enough that my name is not John Smith, so I'm pretty easy to find on LinkedIn. So I have that working for me, or on the Knightscale website, and just get in touch and we have a chat. Again, please don't be offended if I don't take you as a client. It's for your own good. I only take people that I believe I can help. Right. It's if I cannot help it, it makes no sense. And yeah, have a chat. I have a little on my website. You could do that actually. I have a little quiz that will tell you if I think I'm so I don't waste your time having a call. If you are a one man 100,000 person startup. I'd be glad to talk to you and give you a few advice, but that's not where I help.
Right. That's why you have your book.
Yeah. And if you're a 100 million company, you probably don't need me. So if you fit in where I think I can help, just give me a call.
I love it. Well, and I see, we've got the quiz. Are you ready for a PE? Private equity exit. Yeah. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes. This really is just fascinating. Like I said, it's far enough above my head, even with my executive MBA from University of Colorado. But it really is absolutely fascinating. And the thing is, there are so many companies that are at that level, and they just don't know what to do. And unfortunately, and then they end up with nothing, right? They either don't sell for the right amount, or they close, or whatever, and all of that just is gone. And so with a little bit of planning, you can make sure that it's not going to happen.
That's the idea, yeah.
Right. Well, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
Just know who you are. It's very important. Know what's your goal as an individual. I ask, I start my first calls by please forgive me. I'm going to ask you a very personal question. I'm going to ask a question about your wife or your husband, your children, your age, how much longer. I was talking to a fantastic woman that has a fantastic company. She's 65. So I asked her very bluntly, how many more years do you have? Because that's important, because that's going to determine if we can reach that point in time. She said I had 4 or 5 more years. Okay, then we can work with that. It's it is personal questions. I'm going to ask you about your lifestyle, about your kids' lifestyle. stuff like that, because you need to know who you are. That's super important. If you don't aim for 100 million exit, it's perfectly fine. Working with a guy who has franchises, and his company is already worth at least 50 million, but he doesn't know it. And he said, "Oh, I'd be happy to sell for 10 million." I said, "No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't be happy. You have 4 kids. You have 8 grandkids. You wouldn't be happy. I know the cost of American universities. You're not going to put 8 grandkids with 10 million through university. It's like, I know I put two kids through university. It's $500,000 per kid. Like, it cannot be less than that. So like, no, you're not going to be happy with 10 million, and you don't have to. It's like, yeah, know who you are, know what you want to achieve in life, and please stop confusing what's urgent with what's important.
I love it. I love it. Well, this really has been so interesting. I'm Deb Creer. I've been having an absolutely fascinating discussion with Alexis Sikorsky. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.